We are unmuted. Hello everybody, how are we doing? I'm joined once more with JACKDAUDIBLE'S ROOK CLUB, and today we are going over Down Among the Dead Men, and I am joined by my good friend Lucas. Lucas Fossilcon, how are you doing?
Hello everyone, been a long time.
It has, long time no see. It's great to see you coming back into the community, your Dragon Age content, and just to get back in touch with you. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed getting back into content as well. Not just Dragon Age, well, for the moment it is, but
Yeah,
in
yeah.
future.
Well, what's been your opinions on? I'm seeing the Veilguard. I know we've always shared quite a modicum of skepticism. We've always been like, we'll wait till we see it. But now we've actually seen it. What have been your thoughts on it as somebody who's been, understandably quite skeptical of the games?
I wasn't quite so sure about the companion reveal trailer, but once the gameplay trailer hit, that actually looks quite good. I'm glad they sorted out the combat.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I mean, yeah, Origins was nice, but the combat was sort of meh.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 2 was the same. Inquisition, this combat sort of felt unfinished.
I agreed.
And Veilguard actually looks like they have a good combat system in place.
I agree to that, because I watched your video on the combat, and I completely agreed when you said that Inquisitions was underbaked. And I hadn't really thought about it, but subconsciously in the back of my mind, I went, that is spot on. It's a great, it works and it gets by, but it is, when you're playing, especially as those rogue and warrior melee builds, you can really feel that underbakedness when you're like, going for a swing attack, but then you can't, you cancel that attack, and then you're still mid-swing, and you can't cancel quick enough, and you still make that attack, and it just feels clunky. Whereas I think if you're a ranged build, you get away with it more. But there were so many, I think, facets of that game that, gameplay-wise, combat-wise, it was underbaked. And I largely agree to that. And now seeing Veilguard, and it looks actually proper baked for a Dragon Age game, is really exciting.
Yeah, like I replayed the games recently, and I mean, Origins hasn't changed a bit, obviously. But with Inquisition, I installed a mod that changes the controls a bit, and that does make it feel a bit better, but it's like you can still feel they didn't quite get it to work the way they wanted to, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And I also do mods with Inquisition 2 just to try and make the combat just a bit better. Again, like I'm not saying it's deeply flawed. It just feels like there could have been a lot more to it than what there was. But it's nice to hear that now Dragon Age is going to be a fun game to play combat-wise. Because I know we don't all play Dragon Age for its combat, but for a crucial part of gamers, of hardcore fans, that is a big, huge aspect of this game too. So it's oh, Lucas, a bit loud. Thank you, Chloe. I will turn him a little bit down. People saying, "Ooh, that accent." They're a big fan, Lucas. They're a big fan. I brought Lucas in for a reason, because we are going down to Navarra, and I believe Navarra have these German accents.
I mean, given the names they have, it's likely, yeah.
Yeah, like Pentagast and Emmerich Volkerin, and
but also, wasn't there somewhere in the story there was someone called Van something?
Yeah, there's Van. Yes, I do remember. I do recognize. There's the story with Sidoni in it. Death Mages something, and there's a lot of like German names, and that'll be the surnames of the the German sounding ones. But also, just to bring Lucas back, because he's back in the community, he's creating content. Me and Lucas have been good buddies for freaking ages. So yeah, he's joined. Yeah, it's been mad. Yeah, chat, fantastic to see people. Yeah, people are excited to see you, Lucas. So yeah, we're going to be doing Down Among the Dead Men. I'm going to be being the narrator and the feminine voices, as well as the odd masculine voice. Lucas is taking the main role as Audric Felhassan. That's how I've been saying it. I don't know if it's Felhassan. Any clarity on that, Lucas?
Wait, where was his name written?
I can.
I know it's spelled out somewhere, but I don't know where again. Audric. Up.
Emmerich is a German name too, apparently. Hey, Emily, how you doing?
Emmerich isn't really that German. I've never heard of anyone named Emmerich, or even in history.
What about Audric? Is that German?
Not really. Maybe it used to be like way back when, but also not really as...
Thank you, DeCast. I appreciate that you enjoy my pronunciation, which is absolutely awful. I used to call the executors, just because. Random Q in there for no reason. Don't know why.
Why not?
I call him Felhassan. Audric Felhassan. It could be
yeah, actually, I got some information from my assistant.
Oh, yeah?
That there is a German film producer called Roland Emmerich, which is spelled, I think, exactly like... Well, it has an E more than Emmerich, but in German it would be Emmerich.
Emmerich? Oh, no way. Say that again.
Emmerich.
Emmerich. Oh, wow.
But then again, there is an E and like an additional E in there. But Emmerich would be the German pronunciation then, yeah.
Folks, how is Lucas's voice now? Is he too loud? Is he all right? I've taken him down by 10%. Just before we start, I want to make sure that his voice is loud, but not loud enough that it's going to pop your ears.
Unless I yell.
Unless he yells. Will he yell?
Evident. Always. I'll just yell my lines.
Yeah, Faye says never heard Emmerich in Germany before. But yeah, it could be. It could be ancient. My favorite.
But then again, even with like even with the filmmaker, Emmerich is a last name in that case. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's not a first name. Audio's good, brilliant, folks. Well, get your cups of tea. I have mine in my little French bulldog mug. Are you a tea drinker, Lucas?
Not with this weather, no.
Oh, what weather is it? Oh, is it too hot?
It's about 32 degrees outside still, I think.
Ooh, is that Celsius?
Yeah, Celsius.
Let me see what it is for us. It's been hot for here too, but like, come on, I'm a Brit, man. You can't. You're still a tad quieter. Okay, thank you. What I can do is, I mean, I'll just shout loud. I'll speak louder. I have been being a bit quieter. What I'll do is.
Well, I mean, I do have the advantage of not like having to face the microphone. So.
Is that because you got a condenser, or is that just because?
No, I have like a pop-on microphone I can put onto my.
Oh yes. I've turned my gain up a tad, folks. Let me know if it gets too loud. I don't want it to be too loud. What was I looking at? I can't remember what I was looking at. I was going to say something. I can't remember. Yeah, let us know how it is. I will speak a bit louder, though. Oh, yes, tea. It's like 24 degrees here. So definitely not compared to where you are, Lucas.
That would have been lovely here.
Think of that nice hot tea while in the hot 22 degree weather. Where's everybody else in chat? Where are you all? Obviously, I'm UK. Lucas is Germany or Navarra.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll jump into this then. If your volume is sound, let us whisk away into Navarra and crack on with Down Among the Dead Men by Sylvia Feketakuti. I had such a hard time trying to pronounce that surname back in the day. Feketakuti. Brilliant surname. But yes.
I'm glad you did that.
Sylvia has wrote characters like, I believe, Blackwall, and she has wrote Emmerich. Who else did she write? She wrote somebody. I think, did she work on Josephine? Yeah, she worked on Josephine. That's it. Cool. Right, we are gonna jump straight into this. I will try and read slower so you all don't get me rambling.
Wait, before you do that, people want to know how you drink your tea.
How do I drink my tea? I'll show you how I drink my tea.
How do you take your tea, they ask.
Take it. I take it in a mug. No, what I do is I put the tea bag straight in my mouth raw and then pour hot water. It depends what tea I'm having. How do I take my tea? So this is just sleepy green tea. So this is just a tea bag with hot water and a bit of cold water in there. If I was making a brew, a proper brew, I would have Yorkshire tea, tea bag in first, then we put hot water in, and then you put milk in, and then 3 sugars. Best tea.
So you're actually drinking sugar with tea?
I would if I were to be drinking Yorkshire tea, but I have sleepy tea at the moment.
Okay.
Faggy, Northern Lights, Cheryl Chi wrote Blackwall. Well, Sylvia Feketakuti wrote Josephine. I know that for sure. Oh, thank you, Cathal, for the super chat. The world is infinitely better for having people like Jack and Taylor Swift in it. Go on. Lucas, are you a Swiftie?
I have some of her songs on my playlist actually.
Yeah, what a lad. What songs?
Oh, wait, let me see.
Sorry, before we start, we
something.
need this is vital law we all need, folks. This is vital law.
Let me see. I have Cruel Summer. Don't Blame
Yay!
Me.
Ooh.
Anti-Hero,
Go
Wildest
on.
Dreams, and Style.
Oh, you've got style. All right, folks, we're going to jump into this now. The loaded questions, indeed. Yeah, we'll go through this. Throw any of your tidbits in the chat. We'll come back to them later as well, because what we'll be doing after this is breaking it down, talking about bits that we enjoyed, bits that we didn't enjoy, the characters, what it means for the Veilguard, and just a general chinwag. So, Down Among the Dead Men by Sylvia Fekete. He'd done everything he could to avoid being drafted into the funeral guard. Swapping duties, extra shifts, tasteful bribes, nothing had worked. Audric's friends in the City Watch had assumed it was the tedium he hated, and Audric, embarrassed, let them. Now spear straight, he listened to the old priest's surprisingly hale voice boom off the stonework with prayers for a dead man. And the Maker, clad in the majesty of the sky, set foot to earth, and at his touch all wearing ceased. Audric hadn't known the dead nobleman, but Penric Karn's funeral was well attended. A few mourners appeared genuinely heartbroken. Audric kept his gaze away from their red eyes and grief-twisted faces, maintaining a respectful, bland stare into the middle distance. Same. From every corner of the earth, the chant of light echoed, and the Maker walked the land. Audric's eyes wandered to the majesty of the copper-tiled vaults. This temple complex had been built to celebrate the retaking of Navarin lands, 365 towers, helmed by King Caspar II, long may he rest. That it was a marvel among a city of marvels didn't diminish the glittering craftsmanship. What did sour it was the dead man on the bier behind him. Audric squirmed at the thought of the hollow pits that were his eyes. Curiosity, his father had said in their clay-walled home on the outskirts of the city. That was Audric's trouble. Curiosity and too much schooling for a boy that wakes up crying from nightmares, my lad. Aw, poor lad. By the Maker's will, I decree harmony in all things. Audric had grown out of those nightscapes as he entered the tedium of a guardsman. He missed them in an odd way. Their crooked sceneries, their strange terrors that felt tailored only to him. The vaults here had faint echoes of that majesty, blurred greatly by memory and time. Lost in a gloomy churn of thoughts, Audric didn't hear the whisper of silk on the bier as the priest thundered the end of the chant. He missed the crowd's face turning quizzical, then horrified. Let balance restore, and the world given eternal life. But Audric would always remember the moment a withered hand grasped him by the shoulder and a corpse in jangling gold crunched its teeth into his neck. Da-da-da! Okay, so now we've got the older mate. This is Emric. All right, what voice are we doing for Emric?
That's. I think.
The older man tilted. Yeah, this is Emric.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll be.
I think you should just do your regular British voice for him. Yeah, I doubt they'll go German.
Okay, I'll do it more posh then. What happened then? The older man tilted a pot of tea. Oh, let me hold my tea. Sorry. What happened then? The older man tilted a pot of tea encouragingly towards Audric. The younger mage, a woman with pulled back hair and a severe gaze, sipped her own tea and regarded the guardsman silently. This is the chance to sip our tea. Audric shook his head. He didn't feel like tea particularly, while his eyes soaked in the room. He had never been in a necromancer's study before. Ornately decorated skulls hung from hooks in the high, dark ceiling. One wall was made up of shelves with books and tiny labelled drawers. The other was fronted by tables full of bubbling flasks, scales, alembics, and tortured looking-glass. And yeah. A smartly attired servant guard, ground away with a pestle and mortar. Despite himself, Audric's eyes kept settling there. Please don't mind Manfred, the older mage refilling his own cup. He'll finish mixing that tincture before you know it. Manfred, a clean bone skeleton, held up a bowl. Audric read something helpful in the cant of its skull. The younger man looked critical. I think this is you.
No, it says the younger mage. That's Myrna.
Oh, sorry. The younger mage looked... Okay, now I need a feminine voice. The younger mage looked critical. It needs half a... It needs half a cup more elf root. The corpse pulled out one of the drawers on the far side of the room, took out a withered root, and shook it in inquiringly. The royal elf root, please. Manfred moaned and fumbled at more drawers. Every mage in the Kingdom of Navarra was part of the Mortalitasi, a group that trained the gifted in the mysteries of magic. They served as Navarra's arcane protectors and priests. Within the Mortalitasi was a group of select mages invited into an old fraternity called the Mournwatch. The Watchers served as elite guardians, keepers of the Grand Necropolis and its sacred repository of the dead. Yes, that's the one. The older mage beamed. Very good indeed. Manfred. This was the first time Audric had met a Watcher. They had been the picture of courtesy, but Audric thought it would be futile to explain to them what the sight of a skeleton ambling under its own power did to a simple guardsman. Now, where were we? Audric dragged his gaze back to the old Watcher across from him, with his silvered hair, tidy moustache, and a long face full of concern. His expression reminded Audric of the Chantry scholars when they'd caught him reading by candlelight in the library. The good brothers and sisters had kindly tried to dissuade Audric from living in pages for so long he couldn't think straight come morning. It never worked. Is there anything else you can recall about Lord Karn's funeral? The mage asked gently.
No, I think not. Not much, sir. Another guard, Della even had to peel him off me, sir.
The necromancer waved a hand. Emmerich will do, please. Audric nodded absently, touching the bandage on his neck.
Sorry, it's a blur of screams, sir.
Some of it's your own, I'd bet, the necromancer joked, but looked so sympathetic Audric relaxed by a degree.
Yes, sir.
He had screamed, falling to the floor as the snapping, well-dressed corpse dug into his shoulders. He'd screamed at Della. At Della? Della? What did you call her?
Della, yeah.
Della. He screamed as Della tried to pry it off and was smacked into the altar for her trouble. He'd screamed as he braced a boot against the corpse's ribcage and kicked over and over. The Mournwatch can see to this, Guardsman Audric. Oh, sorry, it's feminine. The Mournwatch can see to this, Guardsman Audric, the younger mage commented. This is our ballywick. You are fully committed to this venture? Audric tried to recall how she'd been introduced. He'd been trying to stay as far as possible from Manfred at the time.
The captain, they want the city guard to be involved, madam.
Audric said. What the captain had actually said was, that bloody ceremonial duty is supposed to be ceremonial, and make sure those musty corpse botherers bury Karn's body before his family blame us somehow for this. And then she had, rather unexpectedly, patted him sympathetically and gingerly on the shoulder.
If I can ask, if it's all right.
Audric fumbled. He'd never dealt with necromancers face to face, outside seeing them at funerals.
Do you know what's been going on?
Premature possession, the younger Watcher said crisply. The older one, Emmerich, nodded. It must be. But that should be nigh impossible this close to the Grand Necropolis.
How come?
Audric asked. Excellent question. Emmerich swirled the tea in his mug, looking too cheerfully, Audric thought, for a man framed by so many racks of skulls. The simple explanation is the wards inside the crypts deter most minor errant spirits. Penric Karn is either a man of great and unfulfilled passions or very unlucky. The necromancer took a swallow. After the funeral, Karn's corpse was spotted heading towards the necropolis. It would be easier to locate him if we had any remains. But there was very little spare material left after his body was displayed. Audric reached into a pocket and brought out a handkerchief. He unrolled its contents onto the polished desk.
Will this do?
The younger watcher raised one thin eyebrow. Myrna. That was it. Her name was Myrna.
I got it in the fight, madam, with Lord Karn. Woke up with it, scraping my palm.
Oh, we've spotted a spelling mistake. Mira? Who's Mira? Myrna picked up the curved rib bone. One end was jagged from where Audric's boot had connected with Karn's ribcage. She handed it to Emric. Excellent. Emric, this is your remit. I'll have it ready before sunset, he sighed. It would be faster if we'd managed to replace librarian by now. The students have naturally left books a mess. Pardon me. Myrna nodded and swept to the door, robes flaring. Guardsman, come along.
What for?
A gentle inquiry into the manner of Penric Karn's death. So, who we got here?
I think that's like the wife or sister of Karn?
My brother was stabbed to death by Duke Janus van Markham in an alley. Audric was already wiltering under Ivona Karn's hawkish gaze.
Are you sure, Lady Karn?
Utterly!
It's only... The guard was never told... I don't think the captain knows how he...
What of it? The deceased Lord Karn's oldest... Oh, what of it? The deceased Lord Karn's older sister sniffed, her handsome face wrinkling in disdain. Why should I let the details of my brother's death become the barracks gossip? Janus was a bit of a Janus was a bitter rival of Penric's. Yeah. They bumped into each other. What are you gonna say?
No, she just took a few attempts to think of her actual sentence there.
They bumped into each other at a drinking establishment and overindulged and bickered about who'd slain more dragons on the field. Then they fought and disgraced both our houses by killing each other on a common public street.
But the bodies...
I arranged for the footman to deliver my brother's body to the priests. The Van Markhams did the same for Janus. Lady Karn scowled. The involvement of the city guard in a matter of private grief seemed most unnecessary. Audric rallied.
Were there any witnesses to Lord Karn's death?
The staff of the tavern, my brother's attendants, Janus's attendants, and several passerbys who stopped to watch the sport. Myrna's presence had meant Lady Karn couldn't turn them away. The Morn Watchers had absolute authority over funerary death, but the noblewoman had practically ground her teeth when inviting them into her parlour. Frilly and gilded, Audric couldn't help note, in that Orlesian style that was all the rage in the Free Marches 40 years ago. Lady Karn rose. If this has wound to its end, my household is still in mourning. One last inquiry, Lady Karn, Myrna said. Was there a similar disturbance at Duke Janus's funeral? Was it as relentless as Lord Karn's? Lady Karn glared. Duke Janus was... Sorry, let me get that voice back. Duke Janus was interred. Duke Janus was interred in the winged halls of the great necropolis a day before my brother's funeral without incident or delay. Okay, who's this? Ooh, who is this?
That's Myrna, I think.
I promise, guardsman, you'll be perfectly safe by my side. Audric hung back from a set of massive stone gates. They were lit by braziers and flanked by statues of robed and skull-faced men. carved in a style favoured in the Exalted Age. Audric's memory inanely reminded him. Basalt from Northern Ferelden, Onyx inlays from Cumberland, note how preciously the lights fall on the skulls.
Why would Lord Karn go into the necropolis?
Audric crossed his arms, hoping they didn't start to shake.
I don't understand. Why not let himself be buried if he wanted inside?
The Mortalitasi believe that when someone dies, an inhuman spirit is pushed out from the Fade into our world. Myrna waved a gloved hand at the panorama of the Grand Necropolis, whose upper levels could be seen past the gates, quarried into the stone. In exchange, we invite those inhuman spirits to house themselves in the empty bodies left behind. Correct? Audric shrugged. It was such common knowledge he didn't see her point. Of course, outside Navarra, most nations burn their dead instead of entombing them. Even Audric, with no love of corpses, found the thought disturbing. Less well known is that if a more vigorous spirit claims a corpse, it may become enmeshed in that man or woman's unfinished business. Whatever Lord Karn's goal, it must be something that would disturb the necropolis, or it could lie within a part forbidden even to the dead. Audric shuddered. Something on a causeway past the gates was coming towards them. And the spirit driving him is a strong one indeed, Myrna added.
I'll be no good down there, madam.
Audric blurted. Why?
I'm sorry, I don't do well with the dead, madam.
Why not? Audric shrugged helplessly.
They make me uncomfortable, ever since I was young I get nervous around corpses, madam.
Fascinating. Myrna looked oddly intrigued. Then I must apologise for my choice of transportation. A carriage rattled up. Audric gripped his spear. The horses were bare skeletons with coronas of sickly, surging green fire. The pair stamped as they drew up. Audric stepped back as a horse swung its bony head around as if mimicking a living curiosity.
Madam!
Audric's voice was strangled. Myrna's face was half-shadowed by the bulk of the carriage, rimmed by that spectral light. The appraising look on her face threw Audric back to being called to the Chantry's mother office in trouble. Let me read that again. The appraising look on her face threw Audric back to being called to the Chantry's mother's office in trouble. The squirming sensation of being measured in a way all his reading hadn't been prepared him for. This must be your choice. Myrna lit into the carriage, skirts brushing the liqueur black frame. Only answer one question. The inside of the carriage was dark and curtained. Myrna's voice issued from plush shadows. Would not a guardsman who's recited the history of every stone in every promenade we've passed regret passing up the chance to see the architecture of the Grand Necropolis?
I didn't know I was talking aloud.
Audric muttered, clinging to a handhold as the carriage pelted down a track, circling the necropolis's open-air mausoleums. You mumble. Myrna seemed more relaxed now that they were on their way. I'm impressed by the specificity of your knowledge.
The Chantry taught me letters.
Ivy-smothered archways whipped by. Then the horses plunged down a thoroughfare lined with human-sized urns.
I kept some books.
Architectural art seems to be your passion.
Yes, madam.
And you have excellent recall. Given your apparent zeal, I'm surprised you didn't join the Chantry Scholars. Audric thought of those old rooms of books with a pang, followed by a darker current, coughing in poorly lit rooms by the river. A year-long fever haunting his parents and cousins. A guard makes enough... Oh, sorry, it's you.
Yeah. A guard makes enough to feed their family, madam.
Myrna seemed content to leave things there, and took something out of a velvet purse, a rib bone. Emmeric's prepared your trophy for us. His catarix is very reliable. Audric felt the ground tilt down slope.
Madam?
His magic. She tapped the rib bone. This will now guide us to where Lord Karn's fled. Emmerich would join us, but he's been called to other matters. The carriage swung down a tunnel. Audric felt his ears pop, a sensation he recognised from swimming in lakes as a child. That can't be right. We've only started travelling down.
What, pardon me, madam, what's more urgent than a body loose in the Grand Necropolis?
Her cheek quirked. Our chief issue will be sorting him out from the others. They finally careened to a halt. Somehow in that sunless tunnel was a row of pale willows. Their drooping branches formed a silent bower leading to a cage over a square dark pit. Have you ever been to the necropolis? Myrna asked as she stepped out, unlatching the cage's gate. Audric thought about his parents.
Twice.
Oh no! We'll be going deeper than the public gardens. The necromancer snapped a finger. The cage clattered as if we're being shaken by something deep below. Touch nothing, make little sound, and do not wander.
Yes, madam.
Audric touched the bandage on his neck again and tried very hard not to look at the stamping skeletal horses.
Madam, when we see Lord Karn...
Yes? Audric rubbed his neck, feeling more than a little resentment at the thought of the man. It was as if all the terror from the funeral was slowly transmuting into outrage.
He's a mean biter in death, madam. How do we rope his sorry lordship back with us?
A platform rose up, slamming into place inside the cage with what sounded to Audric like a very final thud. We will ask him, guardsman, politely. The cage had been descending for a minute, its chains shuddering and groaning. Audric strained to see the levels they passed through the gloom. Here was the lower parts of the open-air gardens, but they'd gone down below them already. Surely.
The necropolis's geography is a tangle.
Audric startled. Myrna was beside him, closer than he'd realised. She put a steadying hand on his shoulder. Audric was further surprised to feel the warmth of it through Myrna's glove, even a heartbeat after she removed the hand. It subtends in unexpected ways.
I can't take your meaning, madam.
The lower halls and chambers of the great necropolis are not always in the same place at the same time. The lift went past another level. Audric stepped back as he saw skeletons in armour trudging sightlessly between rows of crypts. Their rotting clothing had the Watcher's stamp on it, some sort of undead guard.
Powerful magic, madam.
Oh yes. Myrna took out the ribcage, turning it over and over in her hands. Audric was fairly certain she was looking at something he couldn't see. The deeper we travel, the more pronounced the effects becomes. Myrna snorted, a sound Audric hadn't expected from her. There's a reason even the canniest of thieves have never piffled past the lift jolted, stopped, a voice screeching up the shaft.
Interlopers, mouldering busybodies, wretched gall-filled vermin.
That's spawn! Myrna sighed. Lord Karn, I presume?
You'll chain me back up in that box before my honor is restored.
Your body and spirit are at an odds, Myrna said pleasantly, as if they were speaking in a market. I've come to correct this. Audric looked around, attempting to pinpoint where Karn's voice was coming from. He was perturbed. Thank you. He was perturbed to realise it was echoing from inside his own head.
Lord Karn seems more... how's he talking, madam?
Audric whispered.
Oh, well.
That's all right. He's had time to reconstitute himself, Myrna replied. I suspect a spirit of pride moves his lips.
No!
The force of it rocked the lift.
I am myself. I am Penric Karn, Death of Dragons, favourite of the kings of Nevada.
The spirit's voice reached a fever peak.
Sign the debt you hold so dear and leave me to my work.
Something rattled the top of the cage and made a sharp, shimming snap. Then the lift fell. Guardsman! Myrna grabbed Audric's hand. There was a sickening whip, whip, whip as entrances flashed past the lift doors, too fast to see. Audric looked at her in terror, but through the screaming plummet, Myrna's eyes were fastened on those square of lights. Corpse glow flickered. How fast? Audric's neck prickled, and there was a wrench. Audric hit stone. The Morn Watcher slid to a stop beside him. This was a vaulted corridor. Fine marble finished by sand polish. His mind charted, and there's a bronze trim of those scones... sorry. those scones of green fire. A few lengths away was the lift shaft. Broken chains whipped past, followed by nothing. Then a distant crashing boom. Dust billowed out, coating them both. Myrna coughed into a handkerchief. Audric pulled himself up, saw he was braced on a tomb, and almost fell again, letting go. As the dust settled, Myrna wiped his face, tucked away the handkerchief, and turned to face Audric. Guardsman, I fear we face a slight delay. Let me just take a sip of tea.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Everybody loves the voices.
Good, good.
Particularly the bah. The sleight of hand she'd used in the lift, Myrna explained. That sleight of hand she'd used in the lift, Myrna explained, could only whisk people about a step or two. She had no spell that would magic them above ground. They would have to return the long way. After, and she emphasized this, they dealt with Lord Karn.
Where is he now?
Audric asked.
Was that him inside the lift?
Karn casts forth a shadow. Pride has the power to make itself known where it is unwanted, and I am sure it is a spirit of pride that has possession of Lord Karn's remains.
Seems so, madam.
Audric looked around, still dazed. The delayed fright weighed with a fascination with the state lines of his surroundings. The place was beyond an antique. He peered up a cornice carved with skulls merrily staring back down. The grainy stone looked as if it was at least from the Tower Age. Did the Grand Necropolis go back that far? Audric considered it. Then another thought intruded.
Lord Karn, madam, he's tried to kill me twice.
Unfortunate. Myrna agreed.
Do you know where we are?
Yes, she replied, and then added, approximately. A wind suddenly whipped through the corridor, rattling dried flowers tied in sheaves to the crypt.
Madam?
I hear it. Stand by me. Be still. The scone's fire dimmed. Audric backed into Myrna, who'd gone still herself. Voices leaked through the air, which seemed to darken in a fashion unrelated to the light. The sounds grew louder, witless gibbering that sounded like words but slipped away just before being understood. It came from all around, as if they were in a crowd, and underneath the mutters, Audric heard something more, a predatory droning crawling nearer. Eventually it faded. A frown pinched Myrna's face, and her voice was soft. We are lower in the necropolis than is wise. Cleave to me for both our sakes. Then she held out her hand.
I can't. I wouldn't presume.
Audric babbled, horribly ashamed for some reason. The presumption is mine. Myrna looked down the passage. If you're in contact with me, you may see things more clearly, until we reach the upper levels. Audric took a hand. He was wearing his gauntlets, but warmth spread up his arm. What sorts of magic the Morn Watchers had at their disposal, he didn't know, but the air seemed to steady. The corridor led into a tall room, with pillars repeating in long lines like an arcade. To Audric's astonishment, streams of black water gurgled through the chamber, via channels cut into the rock.
It's like the Gardens of Yith in Starkhaven,
he blurted. Myrna stepped over a stream. A visiting architect must have been inspired. Audric watched the streams ripple. They braided together at the end of the room, feeding into a carved gap in the wall, then sounded as if they turned into a waterfall.
A duke had the...
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, it's you.
A duke had the gardens built over a resting place of his lover's ashes 300 years ago.
You're one for trivia. Emric would be delighted.
Madam?
Audric ventured.
What's Lord Karn's mission? What does he want?
Oh, new word. Temerarious. Karn's temerarious flight has something to do with honour, supposedly. Myrna said as they picked their way across the narrow channels. Nobility's intrigues never held any interest for me. Something itched at the back of Audric's mind at that, but the thought was shattered by a loud splash behind them.
Madam.
Hold! Something flopped out of one of the streams, inching forward. Pale bloom stretched and grasped the air. Fingers, Audric realised. Connected fans of scrabbling arm bones. But the streams were too shallow to accommodate that bulk of arms and hooked fingers.
Madam!
Behind me! Audric obeyed, Myrna added. Do not drop my hand. The thing kept oscillating out of the water. Undulating up more and more, fused bones. Nightmare fronds of something that was never alive. Water poured off a tangle of ribs that crested up before them like a cobra's hood, crowned by a misshapen thing vaguely resembling a skull. It split open sideways. Its gullet spiked all the way down its neck. Myrna slapped it, whip fast, with an encouraging crack. Her hand coruscated. Her hand coruscated with emerald fire. We are permitted passage, she enunciated clearly. Leave. The thing's neck curled in confused anger away from the Morn Watcher's flames. It hissed like shifting sand. The spell burning in Myrna's hand coiled into ropes, a lash or a whip strangling cords. I will not ask again. The thing fluked back down into murky waters. Audric realised he had been squeezing the Watcher's other hand far too tight and relaxed his grip. Thank you. No, wait.
I think it's you.
Thank you, Myrna turned, and only then did she shake her free hand with a wince. What bones? Like iron.
Madam.
Audric whispered.
What was that thing?
Uncatalogued, Myrna said briskly. Emric will be thrilled to hear of it. Let us depart quickly.
Take a sip of tea.
Indeed. Chat is saying how short this story is. It's true. It's really good though, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it.
Right. Audric's next few hours were a series of wonders and horrors. A grand delirium like those nightmares of his childhood. He stood with awe in the arena-sized tomb of a warrior queen, carved with a riot of battles and feasts that cavorted on the stone. He shivered at the majesty of the flowering gates, closing off a silent, enormous silver grave. He crossed a bridge made of giant bones, over a pit of skeletons of a sort he did not recognize. He hid from a wheezing thing that dozed all the light around it, but left behind lingering grey shadows when it was gone. Just once, Audric had let go of Myrna's hand, when a spectrum rushed him. Everything had suddenly been much darker and disorienting. The Morn Watcher had dispelled the spirit, while Audric clung to the sides of a grave. He'd felt as if the room were heaving. When she'd grabbed his elbow again, things snapped into focus. Not that Myrna's presence made the architecture less baffling. Corridors sprouted where there should have been no room between the walls. Stairs brought them to a higher landing than the ones they'd started on. At one point, they'd made their way through a maze of mirrors with sliding panels that led to a smaller and smaller box-like rooms until they had to crawl. All the time, he'd gripped the Watcher's glove, and all the time, his mind worried about Lord Karn.
Has Karn found what he wanted yet, madam?
He may be occupied, Myrna said, as they travelled a gently sloping path past tableaux of the dead. The carefully preserved corpses had been poised as they'd been in life, reenacting their daily rituals. Some even moved, albeit slowly. It's no easier for the dead to pass through some of these places than the living.
Lord Karn must want this manner of honor settled very badly.
Undoubtedly, Myrna replied. Have no fear, we draw closer to the upper levels. Audric felt it, a lightning in the air. The twists and turns of the passages were just as numerous, but the chambers were quieter. They even passed a few docile undead shuffling past harmlessly. After the exotic terrors below, Audric only felt mild aversion instead of his previous squirming fear. Myrna stopped abruptly. That statue, she said. How would you describe it?
Lapis lazuli, carved in the Amor Tourment. Wait, what is Amor Torment Origin style, holding a scepter.
Does it seem familiar?
I've seen woodcuts of the style in books.
Does it seem as if we've passed it before?
Oh.
4 times now. Myrna looked about as if the room would spit up answers. Something has foiled our direction. A voice spoke. Oh, here we go. Audric had last heard it in the cage of the lift.
Vanity! Watcher, to think you could stop the pride of this house.
The Watcher sniffed. Her hand went to the velvet purse and the rib bone. These games diminish all us, your lordship.
You will have nothing of me.
Karn's voice seemed deeper, more resonant. Audric noticed. Was that how demonic spirits sounded once they settled into a body?
Definitely, that's what I saw. I can feel you tugging with that little piece of rib and dragging that wretched thing behind you.
Audric cleared his throat.
We wish you no ill, Lord Karn.
He was in fact imagining throttling what was left of the man's throat. Audric felt a sympathetic pain from the wound on his neck.
The Morn Watch would cage me. Let me moulder on a shelf.
Myrna's lips became a thin frown as she looked around, as if searching for the disembodied voice beyond the walls. Lord Karn! Something smashed through the ceiling. Audric was nearly crushed as a golem of lashed-together bones hit the floor with a crack. It thudded towards them, effortlessly shoving aside the broken stone. Audric heard Lord Karn's voice sneer.
I got to make my challenge, Watcher.
Just before the golem's long-bone glaive whistled down. Audric and Myrna dived into different directions. The golem swept the glaive back at head height. Audric was saved by ducking behind a fallen chunk of stone. He scrambled farther as the golem advanced. Myrna started to dash where he was. Guardsman, as in the lift, come to... The golem slammed the glaive into the ceiling. Myrna barely tumbled clear of a slab of stone the size of a horse. The pouch containing the rib bone slipped from her hand, and the golem's blade scythed down. There was a crunch. Myrna winced but kept moving even as the glaive spun. There was a ring of metal on metal as it hit Audric's spear. Guardsman! Audric barely deflected the golem's next sweep. The creaking monster had the strength of a rock slide. He feigned to the side. A second set of arms unfolded from the golem's chest, clutching knives. Audric parried the first, dodged the second. The main glaive swung back like a pendulum. Warm dizziness, a rush of cold stone. Audric gasped. They were in a room of smooth, dark green walls, and tiny candles cupped in yellow glass. He could hear the golem stomping somewhere above them, Glav scraping the floor. A bony form in a deep shelf of the room stirred at the sound. It looked at them reproachfully, then rolled back to its rest. The guardsman pushed himself with a scrape.
Thank you, madam,
he said. There was something subtly wrong about the depth of this place. Floor length, Cerroc glass mirrors, fixed in the green. See how the candles look like hovering stars? Myrna shook her head, brushing off her dress. Your endangerment is directly related to my foil.
No, you came for me, madam.
As I should. The sound of the golem faded. Either it had stopped or wandered away. Audric patted himself down.
Would have been easy to leave me, so thank you again.
His hand jutted against something cold. Guardsman?
Sorry, something's... I don't know what...
Guardsman? Myrna sounded regretful. Audric felt a sudden, inexplicable pang. I'm afraid this must be now.
What must?
Audric heard a strain in his voice.
What's now?
Look down.
I don't know what you...
Look down. Audric looked. The broken blade of the glaive was lodged straight through his dry, unbloodied, unbreathing chest.
Oh.
The Chantry sisters that had schooled Audric were also Navaran. The nation's orthodoxy accepted that the Grand Necropolis was a fitting resting place for the bodies of all good souls destined to sit by the side of the Maker. The metaphysics of what would happen to his flesh, however, had been hand-waved. The spirit that would be placed there was not their providence, the sister said. The city's necromancers would tend to that after his final hour came. Audric felt somehow cheated. He was still conscious after it happened.
When?
He demanded.
How long has this...
Guardsman Audric Felhausen, died of his wounds... Felhausen. Guardsman Audric Felhausen died of his wounds after Lord Karn's funeral. Myrna sounded apologetic. His body arose next morning and went to his old post. Your captain was at a loss. As you were interstate, she sent you to us to ease your passage.
I'm not dead.
Audric said as he grabbed at the blade in his chest.
I'm myself. I'm not a spirit. I'm me.
Audric staggered as the blade came out with a sickening crunch. Flakes of, or Maker, dried blood came out with it. You are not quite what you were, if that's who you still aim to be.
Please, stop talking like that.
Audric trembled. How could the dead, no, not yet, tremble? Have you noticed your thoughts growing circular? Tell me about your life outside your love of art, Audric. Expound on another topic.
I can think just fine.
His own hands. If he took off a gauntlet, what would he see?
I'm Audric Felhausen, not some spirit using his body for a stroll.
What have you thought since we embarked? Myrna asked patiently. What's impressed itself? The style of the place, the buildings, the frescoes, the statues, and Karn. Always back to Karn.
Many things,
he said weakly. Myrna's look sliced clean through him. The truth, Guardsman Audric. He'd loved his books. He'd never had any pretensions to being a scholar. He'd simply wanted to collect and read for its own sake. After work, after a few drinks with the other guards, he'd slip away shyly to his apartment and read by lamplight and fire. He'd loved the comfortable silence of those nights, loved them more than anything else. Audric lurched over to a mirror. A hollow face sagged back to him. He groaned, and the sound, he now realized, was of peace with the dead around him. His vision grew dim with a dry, throat-closing anger. This had been his life, and there'd been so little of it. Karn, that demon, whatever that thing was, had ended it without a thought. Audric wanted to rend the man limb from cracking limb, imagined raking his hand across that face, tearing everything and anything at all. A glove clamped his shoulder. He felt the warmth of a living hand. You will not lose yourself. The voice was stern, a warning shackle. I forbid it. You are suited for better things than rage. For a moment Audric saw his body, Myrna, and the green stonework from above, as if he hovered a length outside them all. Then more of himself slid back into place. His sight grew clearer.
You brought me here to watch me,
he said quietly, bitter. The Morn Watch assists both the dead and the living. We wish to help you resolve what you are.
What's that?
Driven. Myrna squeezed his shoulder more consolingly, then stepped away. An entity as complete as you are is rare. Some of my colleagues argue the higher dead, such as yourself, do, in fact, hold fast to their mortal souls. Others attest that this is impossible. They would say you are caught between two spirits, anger and curiosity. Whatever the case, you are unbalanced. Confronting Karn with you was my remedy. Audric let the glaive fall with a clatter. There was another groan from the nook in the wall. But Karn's golem crushed the talisman. Myrna looked up, as if replaying the scene. I cannot find him easily now.
He mentioned honor,
Audric said. It felt easier to think strangely now that he realized the body, my body, wasn't receiving leftover ideas about needing to breathe. The dizziness that has come on him was gone.
He also said something about a challenge.
It could be anything. A spirit of pride would fasten onto something crucial to Lord Karn's dignity.
So, you don't think he's gone to the Winged Halls to finish his duel with the man who killed him, Duke Janus?
Audric asked. Myrna slowly closed her eyes.
It seems likely to me, madam.
It was a moment before she spoke. You will excuse me. I am cataloguing all the ways I've been a fool. Haha. Audric considered that.
I don't think so, madam. I mean, I'd still like to find Lord Karn.
He picked up his spear, dented but miraculously unbroken.
I don't know if I can stop him myself from trying to fight him. I'll try.
Good. Myrna sent a mote of light into the nook in the wall. A moment later, a skeleton fell out, hissing and snapping. Myrna snagged it with a collar of green fire, tugged it like a leash.
Does that hurt it?
Audric asked, more sympathetic to the shambling thing that he'd been a minute ago. The sensations differ. With some of the dead, one must exert direct control. The skeleton subsided, making a strange whinge. A message, the Morn Watcher told it. Find Professor Emmerich Volkerin. Tell him after some last business in the Winged Halls. We'll be joining him above without delay. A large figure in golden armour hacked the last lock off an enormous mausoleum gate. It held out a hand and the doors burst inward. The Van Markham tombs were spacious as mansions, ceilings carved with knights fighting dragons, rivers of wine pouring from goblets, all circling a skull over a throne. Pardon me. The horror shuffled to the first tomb, the most recently deceased of the line. It placed a proprietary hand upon the lid.
The triumphs of the flower of Nevarran chivalry in the stone.
Karn whirled, eyes bleeding a purple light, so deep it almost pulsed black. Audric gasped at the ceiling and rasped.
Commissioned by King Caspar himself. I've only seen plates. You preposterous nuisance.
Karn stormed out and swayed when he saw the Morn Watcher standing quietly beside the door. Desecrating one's own grave is one thing, Lord Karn. Defiling another's is vulgar.
Janus van Markham owes me a duel.
A pantomime. You'll only wake more of the dead. Myrna looked at the hacked-off locks with distaste. I cannot let you draw more spirits here.
Let them witness.
Karn's shadow began to expand, a hulking shape at odds with the human frame holding a sword, the mark of the Pride Demon, Audric realized. Karn continued.
The living that slighted me above are next, once Janus relearns his place.
He's dead!
Audric shouted, his words echoing around the chamber.
Why could you care? You already killed each other.
Karn brought his gaze back to the guardsman. The imprint of a larger presence swirled around the undead lord like an invisible storm of ash.
What would you know of the price of higher stations?
Audric felt his rage rush back at once. Whatever he was, dead man or imitation of a dead man, he knew what following it would mean. Survival, fury, perhaps oblivion when Myrna put him down. Interment in the city of the dead. But see how the vines of that ceiling curve around to turn into flowers.
You slew me at your funeral.
Audric hefted his spear.
You owe me a duel first, Lord Karn.
Only one of noble blood.
Has killed today, Myrna said, equidistant from both men, but perhaps Lord Karn fears to fight. Karn was quiet for a heartbeat, then brought up his shield.
Never.
Karn was suddenly on Audric, slashing. Audric got what he knew was a lucky jab with his spear. It scraped off Karn's breastplate. The Revenant wasn't as strong as the Golem, but Karn was quick, applying the blade with neat, efficient strokes. Guardsman!
Stay back, Watcher.
Karn spat.
We duel as gentlemen, alone with the weapons at hand.
It'll be fine.
Audric gurgled. He was dimly aware his body wasn't tiring like a mortal man's, but it seemed absurdly unfair he could still feel so much fear. Karn feinted a sweep into a strike, as his sword punctured Audric's lungs. A fatal blow if he'd been breathing. Audric pushed back, slamming his cross guard into Karn's helmet. Parted, the nobleman circled him, idly spinning his sword into a new stance. The match was his, with time.
I heard your babbling whenever you and the Watcher used that bone to look for me.
Karn spat.
A sad thing. A spirit clinging to the dying curiosity of a man with a mania for baubles. You will die and fade in the marble halls of your betters from every single age. Chalcedony, not marble.
Audric said automatically.
Used in funerary buildings since the reign of Queen Verland.
What you keep quiet about that for one solitary.
Audric's spear shot through Karn's throat, nearly beheading him. Karn shrieked and flung out a hand. An inferno of light blasted Audric across the room.
You cur! You impudent worm!
Magic dripped from Karn's fingers.
The Watchers will find nothing of you but ash.
A lasso of emerald fire whirled neatly around Karn's neck. Using magic breaks your own rules, Lord Karn. Myrna pulled with one arm. Karn fell back, clawing at his ruined throat. Your duel is forfeit.
You cannot.
Karn buckled and strained against the rope. Audric saw gargantuan shadow twist around Karn, casting the chamber in flickering, thrashing light. The nobleman raised a clawed hand, and the rope started to fray, until Audric slashed the hand with his spear. Karn howled, and the rope reformed, tightening further. I can, Myrna said, nodding at Audric. Myrna drew Karn in, and Audric harried him, jabbing and slashing before the nobleman could break the rope of fire. A gale rose. The force of the demon inside Karn crackled and flexed against the stone. Myrna calmly continued to pull, looking as if she was exerting no more effort than dragging a small but willful dog. Finally, she had Karn near enough to touch, his flesh smouldering around the rope. I did not permit you to duel Audric for your own satisfaction, Lord Karn, the Morn Watcher declared.
What then?
I allowed him, Morna said sweetly, to see that pride is a cheat. Myrna yanked hard. Karn screamed, suddenly stopped. Audric staggered up to Myrna right as the gaping skull, helmet and all rolled to his feet. The jittering shadows settled. The invisible presence that had filled Karn seeped away. The guardsman picked up the silent skull. What familiar teeth! And Audric placed it on Karn's fallen body, feeling nothing but sad relief. Excellent! Myrna tucked her stray hair back into place. The crypt's calm already.
What now, madam? With,
You heard my message to Emmerich. She crooked a finger, gesturing to Audric. Will be expected. It won't be difficult to return from here. Audric looked around.
I'm allowed to come back with you?
Of course. Myrna lifted her skirts and stepped over a chunk of stone from the fight. Emmerich will be put out if we don't both show up for tea. They were back in Emmerich's den. Audric had been astonished to see familiar tomes in a neat stack on the necromancer's desk.
Are those?
Yours, yes, from your home. Emmerich shook his head. Forgive the liberty, guardsman. After you and Myrna left for the necropolis, I had to search for a reason you might have returned so unexpectedly. I believe we found it, Myrna said. From where she was overseeing Emmerich's manservant transfer the contents of a bubbling beaker into a bowl, Emmerich handed the top book to Audric. It was a gazetteer of Navarra City, stamped with a crowned skull surrounded by flowers. Audric flipped it open and read the blocky inscription. To our son with love, may you be blessed in your studies with the chantry.
All this effort for me? I'm just guardsman, sir.
Was. Audric pushed doubts aside and held the gazetteer to his chest. He existed, knew what he loved, and that he had been loved, and that something seemed enough in that moment. The great leveller has no favourites, Emmerich smiled. Neither does the Mornwatch. You are faced with a choice, Myrna said, coming over. You have confronted your killer and recognised your driving passion. You may rest now, guardsman.
Or
you may work under the auspices of a watcher, Myrna said, under a modicum of magical control, to avoid enemy. The bond must be given freely.
To you, madam?
If it is satisfactory. The guardsman ducked his head, and because that felt inadequate, knelt on a knee and held out a hand. Myrna, smiling slightly, took it. Emmerich coughed, looking away. Please let the poor fellow up. What position were you thinking? I thought it was obvious. Audric felt a slow excitement as he heard Myrna say, "We have a great need for someone to take charge of the library." Hey!
We did it.
We did it! Brilliant voices, Lucas. Loved them. Absolutely loved them. What are your takes away from that story? What do you think? You enjoy it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What I found interesting the first time I read it was that they apparently have like just skeletal horses.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we had them in Inquisition, but I thought it was more like, oh yeah, sure, let's give them some funny things to ride on.
Yeah.
But they actually have skeletal horses.
It's mint. It's brilliant, and I hope we can actually see that. I love how it paints the Mortalitasi and the Grand Necropolis as well. Like it's a complete labyrinth. But the fact that they're all gentlemanly necromancers, we've always had this preconceived notion that the dead go there to rest, but obviously here there's more of this choice, like how we treat spirits in Dragon Age, like given Solas's interpretation. You have a choice. You know, the nature isn't just evil or good or evil like the Chantry depicts. It's a lot more ambiguous than that.
It's also interesting that you can just have like apparently some spirits just go back to their bodies.
Yeah, and just hang there and chill out there, or you know, and I love like when I covered this back in 2020 when the book came out, I just took Audric at face value that he was caught between two spirits, but actually here it says his ambiguity is a lot more different than that. They don't know his ambiguity. He could be two spirits. He could be something else. It's like he's like Cole, but in some degree he's different. His nature isn't currently categorized, and I really like that because it's actually showcasing the different levels of spirits. And that's why I initially thought he'd be a companion, but actually it makes sense that he's not, because he is just a guardsman who is he's not a fighter. Obviously he did he killed Lord Karn's pride demon body, but that was with Myrna's help ultimately.
He's not really suited for saving the world.
He's a librarian. He likes to read his books, so I completely get now why my interpretation of him being a companion is completely like just flawed, because obviously Emmerich, who actually is a lead necromancer with like 40 years experience, makes more sense. But just his nature though, I really can't wait to meet him in the necropolis as the librarian if he's to be there. But I really like him as a character, the concept that they do. And as everybody was in the chat saying, this M. Night Shyamalan twist of he was already dead, it's really well written. It really is. I really like that.
Yeah, like the first few like pages, you don't really notice it, and then, I mean, there were hints at all, but it's not blindingly obvious and shittily written. So you can think about, or you can figure it out if you put your mind to it. But
it's true, yeah.
It's decent.
The biggest indicator was whenever he was touching Myrna, he felt a very warm presence, which again isn't really a big indicator, but it shows that when she's touching him, he feels something. Clearly, because he's dead, he's cold. We assume he's cold. He hasn't got any sensation of heat or any body temperature. So that sensation, that warm sensation, was the indicator that he was dead. But that is such a tiny little indicator. It's now looking back at it and seeing what else told you that he was dead. But yeah, it's such tiny hints. No, I really like it. I like how it comes full circle.
I mean, to be fair, it also makes you question, like, is he actually dead?
Well,
like,
yeah. Is he just like cold? Well, yeah, well.
He stopped breathing, yeah, and he doesn't have blood flow, but is he really dead when he's just up and walking around and talking and having feelings?
That's the thing, it's the nature of his... That's the thing, it's his nature's ambiguous. Only Cole confirmed that Cole replaced Cole as a spirit and he was dead because he saw that, whereas Audric doesn't know. He just has memories and he can't remember. He remembers his death. Well, we see his death. That's the first chapter, the first bit. But then after that, we don't know. He just wakes up in the necromancer's room. So yeah, it's true. What is his real nature? It's good. It's good.
Also, the first time I read that, where she explains that he died and then he just walked back to his post, and his captain was quite stunned. I thought that could have been straight out of a Terry Pratchett book.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I wish that actually was I mean, it's good that it's just a little tiny bit in there, but I would have actually liked a bit more of that because it's funny to get that reaction. And I wonder how she besides him not breathing, how they immediately could tell he was dead. That's the thing.
I mean, I imagine the giant hole in his neck.
I suppose that'll do it. What does chat think? Chat, what did you think of this story? Let me have a read. Thank you, Bonfire. Appreciate it. Chat loved it. Good. What did you all love about it in particular? Anything you'd like to talk about in particular regarding this book? I love I love Navaran lore, the Grand Necropolis, like the dead stuff. I love that, and just getting that exposition. I really like that, understanding what the necropolis is like. This twisted maze-like labyrinth where you can go down one corridor and it turns.
I'm really excited to see that in game.
Yeah.
Like how they do that.
It just sounds like Bio have a lot of areas in this game that are just absolutely crazy labyrinths. Like the Alafon Forest, you walk down one area, it's cursed, it changes, it's shaped. Now you've got the necropolis. What else? Other areas? We've got Tevinter's obviously just Tevinter, a mess.
Audric possessed himself. Well, that's the thing. You don't really know if he possessed himself because you don't know if it's his spirit or just the spirit that thinks he is Audric.
That's the thing. Like, Cole knew that he was possessing Cole because he was with him in his dying moments. if Audric possessed himself, it would be... I don't think he is possessed because Audric would have to give consent to that. Because we know possession in Dragon Age is like a consent thing. You can't force it upon somebody who's unwilling. They have to be willing. Like Morrigan's daughter, sorry, Mephal's daughters. So I don't know, unless he's forgotten. I like that the Navarran honor their dead. It's true. I like the kind of subversion that, like, the chance, like, yeah, you know, spirit goes to the Maker, so we need a place to hold their bodies, and so a displaced spirit, you know, can come back, and we grant that spirit rest as well. And it's like, yeah, but that spirit comes back as a demon or a spirit and is held in a corpse. Like, they're all fluffy about, we want to save people so they can go meet the Maker, but then they forget the consequence of what that means to the other displaced spirit who is now held in a skeleton. And that's for the unpredictable nature of literally the tombs of the necropolis. You go from Manfred, who clearly is a subservient. I mean, we don't know the nature of Manfred, but you go from like one skeleton who's going to be fine, and then you go from a demon who's possessed and is absolutely causing a massive fuss. But it just shows you how powerful these mages are compared to what we've seen before as well. Like, the Mortal-Tassi are some real, proper, powerful necromancers, which is sick.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Manfred is like just a manservant.
Yeah, I don't think he's a spirit.
Shit at alchemy, apparently.
Yeah.
But then, like Lord Karn, for example, didn't it literally say in the book that he was a revenant somewhere?
Yeah, it did refer to a revenant, yeah, or the revenant darting towards. The revenant wasn't as strong as the golem. Yeah, it does.
Yep.
Yes, spot on. Yeah, it did. Yeah. I love 100%. I was going to say the exposition was my favorite. I could really, yeah. That's the thing about Sylvia Fekete. I really like her writing. It really is good exposition, and the banter too. Like, it's just very dry, and I love that because, you know, being British and all. But I love the dry bit where it says one line, and then it just contradicts it the next line. It's funny as hell. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I want Lucas to be my Rock's voice actor. There you go, Lucas.
Oh, I'm not sure you want that. Also, I just realized that the next story is Horror of Hormak. That explains why you asked if I wanted to come on next week as well. You
can come on next week as well if you want. I also have Emily who's coming on next week too, so we can have a few people for Horror of Hormak if you want to do it.
I mean, that would fit because Horror of Hormak has like one woman, one male guy.
Yes. Yeah, and I can be the narrator.
Yeah.
That sounds. Yeah, you got. Is it? What's the woman called?
Lesha and
Ramesh. Then we've got Ramesh, and I can be the narrator. That sounds good to me. Emily, if you're in the chat, how does that sound to you? Chat. What else are we saying? Loves you guys' voices. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's the thing. It does come across a lot more funny when I hear Lucas doing the demon, because in my head when I did that, it wasn't as. It was brilliant.
Like the first time, like literally the first thing he said, which was it? Yeah, they're like interlopers, moldering busybodies. Like from that moment on, I was like, no, he can't be taken too serious.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's brilliant. Everything I think about Navarra Mom watch on Mortal-Tassi, I hear Cassandra snort in my head. Yeah. Thank you, Emily. Fantastic. Hilarious that Brits, arguably used to being sopping 24/7, love dry humour. It's true. My level out the Solas, spirits of people. That's what I like about this too. It does showcase that aspect. They don't care. It's similar to, again, like the elven representation of that we've had. Like post-Chantry. You know, spirits aren't just good or bad. They are living. They have identities. All this thing. Like, it's a lot more complicated. So I enjoy that now. I enjoy that aspect of it too. And I enjoy the fact that the Mortal-Tassi treats spirits and that. Like, you have a choice. You get to choose. You're not, you know, your decision is your own. But because they're so shaped by this world, they probably normally think they don't have a choice. Shaped based on the Chantry's views and stuff. They probably like, oh, we don't have a choice, but actually they do. I hope we see Myrna in the next game. I reckon we will. I reckon there are going to be major characters from all the factions in this game, from the books into the game. So, like, you've got Andaratia and Veilguard the River, the Antivan Crows. In Tevinter Nights, you've got Evka Ivo and Antoine, who are in the other story in this book. What's it called? Everybody beats me to it.
The other one, yeah.
The other one, and thank you. I think there's also the one where they're in the Anderfels, and then you've got Veil Jumpers, Strife, and Irulen, which was in what we talked about last week. What's it called? 3 Trees to Midnight. What else we got? Mornwatch, Emmerich, of course, with Manfred, Myrna, Audric, Shadow Dragons. We've got a lot of Tevinter characters, but yeah, nobody specifically besides a short story that mentions somebody called the Viper. And then what's the last faction that we've got? Lords of Fortune. There's lots of Lords of Fortunes in Tevinter Nights. We'll go through those, like Matteo, who's in the Genitivi one. Genitivi dies in the end. That's the one. And also Holix. So there's there's basically at least 2 characters in these books per faction. Aesthetically wise, it sounds so pleasing, Navarra. I agree too. I agree. What are you gonna say, Lucas?
No, I looked at, like, when I was checking stuff for a new video, I looked at the places they revealed so far. Wait, let me see if I can find. And they have them on their site, I think. Give me a second.
Lucas is his Karn voice for Rook.
Just the entirety of that for all of the game.
Yeah.
I think it would grow tiring pretty quickly.
I don't think it would.
But, well, I can't find it right now, but like the places they revealed so far, one of them was Ravain.
Yes.
Then we have Minrathous, obviously, and Arathan. So, like, there has to be at least one perfection, if you think about it. So, Anderfeld.
Yeah. Ravain would be Lords of Fortune.
Yeah, Ravain is Lords of Fortune. Anderfeld is Grey Wardens. Minrathous is... What was the...
Shadow Dragon. Maybe even just
Shadow
Tevinter
Dragons,
might just be Shadow Dragons, to be
yeah,
fair.
true. What else do we have?
We got Navarra, obviously Immortal Attack, or Mornwatch.
Yeah. Mornwatch.
What's the other one out? Great. There's always one I forget. And Teven Crows. I wonder where.
Wait, Lords of Fortune is Navarra. Not Ravain. Yeah.
And Teven Crows and Tiva, obviously. And then I've got a map behind me. Veil Jumpers and Alvan Forest, which is technically a part of Tevinter. I don't know if it is, but like it is on the map. That's it, isn't it? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. And then you have like them hinting at even more places.
I mean, it would be boring if you only had those 6 and then it's done. So
yeah,
there has to be more.
You think of Dwarven
deep
tags,
roads at least.
Yeah, and they have confirmed we have got the deeper roads. And you think of like the lack of Dwarven content we've had for so long. We do now need Dwarven content. We need it. We need it.
Yes.
We're getting finally a Dwarven romance. Let's now saddle it up with Kalsharok.
Oh hell yeah!
Please.
Hello, cat. Do you want to say something? Ow. Okay.
Cat is in your girlfriend, or cat is in cat?
No, cat as an actual cat.
Can it say meow?
I don't. Hello. Can you say meow?
Can you tap its toe?
No.
It's bean toes.
I did. And now she jumped off.
Oh.
And started yelling.
Oh. We need to hear the yells. Yell for me, cat. Yell for me.
What? Hello. Tiny cat.
Is it back? What is it, a he or a she?
It's a she, and she's being held like a baby.
Oh.
And purring.
You need to bring the purrs close.
I tried, but every time I do, he stops.
Toe beans. Emily can't wait for Ravain. Yes. It just looks like a perfect place to go, like a beach holiday, besides the dragons.
I mean, the dragons just make it better.
What's your cat's name? iCity Cat asks.
I have 2 cats. One of them is called Ellie, and the other one is called Bingo.
Bingo! Going back to the necropolis' aesthetic, I also love that too, because I just have an image of just like dark fantasy. But I like the fact that you're going to have the contrast of Antiva, which is glittering, beautiful hubs, you know, Disney, beautiful princess vibes. And then you have,
remember,
you know, Navarra, dead, death.
Yeah, you remember the Temple of Mythal in Inquisition, where it was just all shiny and gold and stuff?
Yeah.
I imagine that's what the entirety of Antiva looks like.
Yeah, spot on.
Just posh and
posh,
gold,
regal, just beautiful, you know, based on Italy in some regard, nobility.
And corrupt. Shit.
Yeah. And then the corrupt, what's it? A plutocracy, where it's run by merchants.
Yep.
But then you've got the invasion at the same time, having its way in that too. Whereas Navarra, like at least I don't know about like Navarra City. I remember I've talked about it in a video, but like, I only get the death vibes of the Mortalatasi, which is what I'm loving the most. I mean, we've seen actually. You know what? I'm sat here speculating. We do have screenshots of the necropolis, so I'll get them up just to post so we can all see and get a visual representation of what Bioware are. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. What Bioware are envisioning. So, where are we? Here we go. This is what we believe to be. I mean, come on, if that's not the necropolis, I don't know what is. I'll send you the pic as well, Lucas.
Yep.
Tell me that's not the Morn Watchers, not Mortatas. Tell me that's not the necropolis.
What the hell are those file types?
Have they actually sent properly or not?
They popped up in my Discord as necro.gif.
I don't know why they are GIF.
No idea.
Tell me that's not that. Come on.
That's definitely necropolis.
Yeah. And just the Veilfire hues, the skeletons, the shadows, the cavern-like atmosphere. It's almost, yeah. And then this one here is just beautiful. Like, this looks obviously the end. Well, obviously, I'm not saying obviously, but it looks like the entrance. You've got crows there resembling death. Or they could be any kind of birds. And we've got our good boy, Emmerich over here as well. And then there's Short King Lucanus with a Cunari mage in Rook with a cape. Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm excited about, because I just saw that on the site as well. Like, the warrior on the screenshot has a cape, and I love capes.
Yes, cape! And companions have capes too. The art looks AI generated. I personally don't think it does. I don't think it does.
Well, I'm not sure if it's in-game. Might be like
I can't.
Mixture between in-game and concept.
I wish I should find the source. I reckon it's probably in-game, but then highly like tweaked a bit. But it looks in-game. That one less so. This one does look more in-game. But again, I'm not sure. I should find out. In the next 2 weeks of my favourites from Tevinter Nights. Oh, hell yes. We've got Horror of Hallmark. And then what's the one
best
after
story.
Horror of Hallmark? What's after Horror?
After Horror is Callback.
Oh, Callback's good. My favourite used to be Eight Little Talons. I love just the crow's intrigue, but I really do like the Navarran shit in this one. And I like the twist. I really do like this one a lot. I don't think I have a personal favourite. I like a lot of them. It would be Dreadwolf Take You for the obvious reasons of Solas, literally dressed as a clown, as an Orlesian. We're
almost the same.
An Orlesian accent. It's brilliant. Horror of Hallmark is also Lucas's favourite story too.
Hell yes.
It is so good. That's like, I'd say the ones I like the least. I don't know. I wasn't bothered about Herald Had the Plan, which is the one where it's a lot of fun. I mean, I like the ending because, well, we'll get to it. I won't spoil it. But I just found that one decent. But again, I am comparing. Like, I do really like this collection. Herald Had the Plan. I'm not excited to read Herald Had the Plan and then Old Crow's Old Tricks. Basically, everything else I'm pretty excited to read. Horror for Mike, yes.
Just act like those aren't included in your book.
Callback. Really like that. I really like Look in the Gardens. That's what I said in my review in 2020. Look, besides Dreadwolf Take You, I really enjoyed that one because it was a monster hunt and it reminded me of reading the Witcher books in some degree. Hunger is the one with Evka, Ivo, and Antoine. I really enjoyed that one. Murder by Death Mages is really good with Sidoni, where she goes back to Navarra, so we've got more Navarran content. That's more about the nobility and the intrigue of it. Streets of Memraphis, Nev Gallus. Oh, I said there wasn't a Shadow Dragon in this book. Yes, there is. There's Nev Gallus. I completely forgot. Yeah, I really like Streets of Memraphis as well, actually. Really good book. Wigmaker Job's brilliant. Genitivity Dies in the End's brilliant. Herald of the Plan, again, pretty weak. Old Crows, Old Trick, pretty weak. There, however, Eight Little Talons is fantastic. Half Up Front is brilliant. And Dread Will Take You is fantastic. So, like, 2 out of 15, not bad. Not bad.
True. There are worse odds.
Yeah, there are. Anybody have any other things to talk about regarding Down Among the Dead Men? Hallmark, Callback, and the Dread Will Take You, my favourites. Yeah. Do we know how old Lucanus is? Ooh, we don't.
I mean, like from the screenshots and concept art. Wait, hold on.
Where's that good picture? There he is.
There. I mean, I guess he's like 40-ish.
Yeah.
But then again, ages have always been something of a weird topic in Dragon Age.
Yeah.
I genuinely can only think of exactly one instance where an explicit age was stated, and that was Liliana when she said that she was 18 when she first came to the Winter Palace.
Yeah. I love Liliana. Lucanus is so fine. that was DeCaster. Who are you excited to romance, or at least get to know more about?
Harding.
Lucas? Hey, oh, he's all for Harding.
Like my first rook is definitely gonna be a dwarf.
Oh yeah,
Grey Warden Warrior.
Grey Warden Warrior. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's not, what sort of warrior do you think, based on the specializations?
Oh wait, which ones did they have again? Reaver.
Your two-handed one. Your
Champion,
Reaper, which is Drain, and then you had your basically weapon and shield champion build.
Given that I'll probably go for weapon and shield, I imagine it'll be champion.
I was originally going to go for a rogue duelist, Antivan Crow, but no, I'm going to go Navarre and Mornwatch. Maybe I'm still thinking more towards two-handed warrior. I need to see first, because I really do like warriors, and I've always done a warrior first in Dragon Age, but I do need to see what I need to see the gameplay. I do.
True.
But no, I am excited. I want to be best friends with Manfred and Emmerich.
No, just Manfred.
Yeah. Just Manfred, actually. But Harding, nice. So you're hard in Hightown for Harding.
Definitely. I'm still upset that... Well, actually, I'm not upset anymore that we couldn't romance her in Inquisition, because now we can.
Now we can, and she's a companion, and we're getting more content. Ooh, favourite aspects of this book? That's a good question. I like the he was dead all along twist. That's really, it works. Like, it's not like cheesy. It's pulled off really well. I love the character building of Emmerich, Manfred, Audric, and Myrna and the demon. I love the dry humor aspects. And yeah, I like that it explores more just of the world building of the Grand Necropolis, giving us more of an idea in our heads. But yeah, mainly the dry, wry banter you get. And I think that's like a concept I've seen with Sylvia Fekatakuti's writing. It was in the tale she did with Emmerich, the short Dragon Age Day short story. And that's the thing that I've talked about for so long, because I really like her dry writing. And that just seems like it's a theme for the Moonwatch altogether. So I love that. What about you, Lucas? Any other key highlights of this book?
No, I pretty much agree with all you said. I'm just really excited to see the Necropolis, or in general, like that area
Yeah.
in game.
I'm
Because it'll be like a complete change from what we've experienced so
Absolutely.
far.
Yeah. It'd be weird seeing magic like not vilified. And I'm excited, and I know this is for another topic when we talk about down the Dreadwolf take you, but I'm excited to see what the Mournwatch have done since the Dreadwolf's ritual disembowelment thing. Obviously, now that Solas is going to be living rent-free in Rook's head, he's got no power unless the Dreadwolf as a Fade spirit can still live freely without Solas and still decides to rip open Fade holes and eat Tevinter Magisters. It'll be interesting to see the effects of what he outlawed and if they've still done their rituals of binding spirits, because it's literally their way of culture. So I'm excited to see the result of that. I reckon it might go back to normal if Solas is literally locked away, because what can he do? But it depends.
When he's worming inside your head.
Yeah.
Like a bald tadpole.
Like a little bald bastard tadpole. Can you romance him in your head though?
That's a good.
Oh,
That's a good question.
That is a good. I do bring the good. I do try. You just mentally romance him, think sensual thoughts of him, and he's like, "Stop it, shut up."
Yes.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. So Taylor Swift is going to be out in Teven Crow. Damn it, yes, you have been listening.
I mean, shouldn't she rather be Lords of Fortune?
I think Antivan Crow because, you know, the glittering hubs and the beauty and Disney-like princess and her songs like Enchanted and the
But then she murders you.
Say that again?
But then she murders you.
And well, I mean, I'd let her murder me. Like the enchanted ball gowns, it feels more Antivan than it does Lords of Fortune, because that's more like pirate captain, arr.
Yeah, true, fair enough.
Whereas, like, I'm thinking ball gowns, enchanted. I'm thinking, you know, more metropolitan. Is that the right word? More of cities, of glittering cities. I mean, if we wanted to go down this route, which we probably don't want to, we could go era by era and pronounce what sort of faction particular eras would be. For example, Folklore and Evermore would definitely be Veil Jumpers. Whereas, and maybe even Lover, because she's got a song called The Archer.
I think we might have opened a can of worms here.
And then I think, you know, Speak Now is definitely Antivan Crow. That's the vibe I'm going for. But then, you know, you got Country, her OG stuff. Where would that fall under? I don't really know, to be honest. You got Reputation, that's giving me Mournwatch vibes. You've opened the can of worms, we're doing it now. Yeah, Reputation, be Mournwatch vibes. Grey Warden's also quite good, I think. That gives me kind of similar Reputation vibes, because it's grey, black and white. But then also a bit lovey-dovey, hopeless romantic-y. I need to think about that one more. And what's the other factions we've got? Shadow Dragons doesn't really work. It could work for Speak Now, given the 1989, given the cosmic. Anyway, yeah. So we can work with it.
Yep, definitely.
I'm going to do Antivan Crow, though. And it's going to be Dragon Age Taylor's version. She kills you with her poetry. Oh, yes.
Also because I haven't gotten like an answer on Twitter or anywhere, I really hope they don't go the route of that, like what every other dev does these days, and give early access for pre-ordering.
That's literally my last video. Literally. I literally said I hope they don't do that. It'd be such a shitty, malpractice way to do it.
Yep.
Like, the best would be if they gave us a demo early and went, right, here's the character creator, go figure. But like, if they're going to do this bullshit that they did in Anthem, Andromeda, and Inquisition of paying 90 quid and you get the collector's edition, not the collector, the digital all-access edition where you get some skins and then you get to play the game 10 for 10 hours a week early before everybody else, it's shit. We don't want that. We are...
I mean, at least we don't, like, state right now is we don't have a multiplayer, so hopefully there's no microtransaction bullshit.
That's the thing, true, because like all of those previous games that I just mentioned did have a multiplayer or a live service or an always online component.
And we don't even have that anymore, so that's good.
Yeah.
And native Steam integration, which is lovely.
Yeah, which is also another reason why I don't think they would do it, because it's always been... Again, they could, though. It could be like, right, like, you get it. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's tricky actually, because could they, if it's not for the EA app, I'm sure they could work it out with some sort of payment system, whatever they could do it. But yeah, it'll be interesting what they do.
No, I mean they could add microtransactions on Steam. There are games that do that, but I just hope they don't.
No, I hope they don't too. I hope. I mean, I would love a character create a demo, but if we get neither, that would also be the best thing. Of, you don't get your demo early, but you also can't play it early by paying 50 quid extra. So, yeah. No, I agree. Jack, oh, what does it say? Jack would be sending Solas thoughts about his toes. I would.
Oh, Solus would just murder you for thinking about tea all day.
Oh, true. Also true. He'd be like, ugh. There'll be so many disgruntled sounds.
Yep.
It would be fantastic. Bill, right now I'm thinking Veilgjumper, Mornwatch, Crows, Grey Warden, Shadow Dragons, Lords of Fortune. I'm similar actually. I'm thinking Mornwatch. I do think I will be doing a Crow for a second playthrough, but Veiljumpers is high up there too. Lords of Fortune for me is similar to being last because we don't know anything about them though. That's the thing. They sound really fun, like Pirate, RRR, but like you compare that to all the lore we know about Navarra, the Anderfels, Whiteout, the Grey Ones, and then Tevinter's Minrathis, and like you know, everything else. There's a lot more substance characters, relevant characters, whereas we don't know anything about them. So maybe that'll be like a third playthrough. We'll see. They'll probably be the coolest. I bet you they'll be like the best.
I mean, to be fair, you have to do at least 7 playthroughs for this.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. Well, what's the 7th?
Well, for each companion romance.
Oh, true. I didn't. You know what? I didn't even think of that. Yeah, true. Who do you think is going to betray us?
Emmerich.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, definitely.
No. I think Harding. It wouldn't make sense unless there's another reason. No, I actually think Balara or Nev. I think more Balara.
I could see Balara because she's all like, oh no, the Veil is. Oh no, I agree with Solus, and I want to be murdered by evil ancient elven gods.
Oh, I'm all really nice and kind and bubbly, and you like me a lot. And it's
Look,
like,
yeah, we'll just betray ourselves.
Yeah. Emily says I would scare Solas with bean tea, and I absolutely would. Heinz beans tea.
To be fair, imagine how awesome that would be if you just string your companions along. It's like, oh no, I'm saving the world, when in secret you're actually just agreeing with Solus and want to free him to help him destroy everything.
I wonder if that's going to be an option.
I doubt it.
BioWare did say if you loved him, you can. They're making conclusions. If you loved him, you can get that kind of conclusion.
You can shag him in your head.
I mean, you could do that right now, to be fair.
True.
Nev makes sense. Yeah, what if whoever portrays us depends on our actions? Oh, that's a good idea. So it could be anybody. It's not one set
approval.
person. Oh, that's a good... I like that. Maybe each faction has a reason, or each character has a reason, and they go through with that. I like that. Because then it's not just, oh yeah, that blasted person.
I mean, there's got to be like options that go against what their faction stands for.
For sure.
And given that they are all apparently some sort of important figure in their faction, I think.
Yeah.
They might be like, oh no, that's where I draw the line. Screw you.
I'm not letting you release the 2 old gods anymore. Love Rook to be the betrayer. That would be such a good twist. But as long as the reason's good. I suppose if you were releasing Solas and let him destroy the Veil, that would be a good reason.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Also,
very good reason.
something I just noticed when I looked at that, like, key art of Veilguard. I do wonder what the meaning behind that dagger is. Because it's Solus's dagger, we know that, but why do we have it and what does it do?
It legit. And if it's made of lyrium as well, and if he used it to destroy the Veil and now we have it, what does that mean for Rook in terms of a gameplay point of view, but also like how is it going to stop us from destroying the Veil? Are we just going to stab Solas and go, right, there you go, you can't do it anymore? But also, like, the thing is, if we're going against 2 Elven Gods, what are we going to do to defeat them? What can we do? We're going to need something. And yes, we've got an Elven God now ahead, but we're going to need something pretty powerful. I don't think we will kill them. I think we're just going to lock them away and swap them out with Solas, so they're in the Black City or in Solas's prison, and then they're going to swap places with Solas. Because if he couldn't kill them, and no Elven God dies easily, how the heck are we going to do that as a, you know, basic ass Rook?
Just stab them over and over again.
Doof, doof. I mean, even Mafal ain't dead, really, is she?
I mean, for Mrithal, given that she's like in Flameth's body, it's kind of like a how many times do we have to teach you this this lesson, old man?
How many times do we need to stab her as well, then, basically? Yeah. It does look cool, though. And I feel like... I mean, we saw it at CDCC, yeah. We saw the dagger in flesh.
Oh, I just found and realized that Meryl actually kind of talks about that dagger.
She does. A blade that could end the war.
Yeah.
So, if that is Solas's blade, and it's been inside the Red Lyrium Idol as well, which is weird, how it somehow is this size and it came from the Red Lyrium Idol, how is that going to... I don't know. It's obviously some kind of shit. The plot's pivoted. We need to change this so that the Red Lyrium Idol now becomes this Lyrium blade that was Solas's blade from the very beginning, because XYZ, XYZ. Yeah,
we just painted it blue.
Yeah, yeah. It's true, but it's weird. It's yeah. Obviously, as a lore freak, it's weird. I know casual fans don't care, but as lore freaks, it's like how. Also, just a quick note: why does Emmerich hold his staff like that? Is he just batting that undead? Because I'm pretty sure there's another shot of him, and he's holding his staff like that again, where it's like poised forward. I think it's in this game.
I mean, he's old.
He's doing it again here. He's old, but like, why would you hold your staff like that? I don't get it. What's he doing? It
Maybe
looks like he's holding a gun or a cannon. He's going.
Maybe he's just kind of like boinking the head, like go away, go away.
Bonk, bonk, bonk. Horny jail, horny jail. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Yeah, something like that.
You do get a really cool idea of the classes though. Like, Lucanus has got a dagger here and a rapier here. Nev's obviously an ice mage with her sick ass Tevinter ice staff.
Also, something that I found interesting about that is, you see, was it Tash? Was it? I think.
Yes, Tash.
Holding 2 axes.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now as a warrior as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is sick, but that we can't do that. I don't think.
Yeah, sadly not.
Unless you're a duelist rogue, which is different. And then yeah, you got Emmerich holding his. And then you got. That's why I love all the companions have so many different like mechanics. Like, from Belara with her arm gauntlet to then Davrin's got a flipping griffin. Like, whoa. Cheryl Chi wrote hard and confirmed by Patrick Weeks. Thank you, Northern Lights. Appreciate it. Sorry, Trick Weeks. Yeah, everybody has a different class, but like, distinctively has a different class that Rook can't mimic, like you could in Inquisition, where it was, yeah, you can be a Rift Mage and you can Stone Fist people alongside Solas. Who doesn't love stone fisting of Solas?
And I also just realized that, like, in that key art with the dragon, every single enemy you see there is Darkspawn, unless I'm mistaken.
It certainly looks like it. Except this.
They all look very Darkspawn-y. I mean, I don't know about those things with the helmet.
Yeah,
but
the helmet things. They could be new. They'll be new demons, I reckon. They did say that new forms.
Possibly.
Yeah. So you got demons and you got the new helmet stuff. Decaster, Rook and Solas connected via blood. It makes sense that Rook could sacrifice themselves to swap with Solas so he can finish it. Also true, yeah. If Rook has Rook's crucial because of their blood being involved in the ritual, so they can swap out maybe anybody. Maybe so that's why. No, I don't know. No. Where is the dagger and what does it do? Alan Schwarzenegger accent. Yes. For fashion. Is that why we've got the blade for fashion? Emric and Dorian would be besties.
It just glows. What does it do? It glows blue.
It's for fashion.
Yes. It's an accessory.
It goes on the side of my belt because it's a light. That's all it does. It's all the rave in Tevinter. We could choose who we want to swap with Solas. Oh, that's a good portrayal, actually. That is a really good portrayal. It's like, right, okay. I don't know, Manfred. Maybe we can choose. Well, I wouldn't want to put Manfred in there, but versus everybody else. Oh,
I mean, can you imagine if?
No, you continue.
Can you imagine, because Solus is in your head and can obviously talk to you in your like mind or whatnot? Can you imagine if you swap him out with Manfred and all you hear for the rest of eternity are just moans and creaks?
I'd love that. I would actually love that. What do you think about Varric's fate? Do you think Varric's dead?
Yeah, definitely. He wants the right intro.
No.
He is. Given that Bianca is already destroyed in the.
They're gonna rebuild it. He's gonna rebuild it. He's just picking up the pieces.
Nah.
What if there's an ending where Rook can join Solas and they can both be locked away in the Fade together? There's your happy ending. Whatever they want. It's like, you wanted into the Fade, you loved the elf, we don't want him leaving.
Yeah, and then there's like this discombobulated mess of Corypheus just floating around.
Yeah. What if you can just put Solas and the Elven Gods together, locked away in the Fade, so they're all there like an unhappy family convention?
Or just like, sit at the table and stare angrily.
If they can't kill each other, they're so powerful. Oh, that would be so funny. That has to be one of the endings. Lock Solas away with the Elven Gods, keep them both in the same prison. Surely, I reckon that'll be an ending. It's like, nah, I'm not helping you. You can join them. If Manfred doesn't say, how do you want to do this, we riot. Oh, yes. Oh, man. Chat, we'll go for another 10 minutes-ish. Let us know anything else about the books or anything else you want to chat about. We are just living for the chat now. I think we are done with Down Among the Dead Men. But yeah, we'll wrap up in about 10 minutes if you have any other convos. Real Housewives of the Fade. What if we lock Solas away with the gods? Exactly.
I mean, either they would be all extremely angry at each other for all of eternity, or they would just start orgies.
Jack, how can you set up such a big smile on your face? I just thought it was funny. Oh, I'm excited to meet Asan and give Asan some hugs. Asan will be great. Baby Griffin. Wait, Bioware blog confirmed. Whoa. Did it? I'm on the Bioware blog right now, and I can't even see anything. Have they tweeted? Have they made a blog? If so, this is the perfect time if they have, but I cannot see anything. Did they? Bioware. Oh, I can't see anything. Okay. Oh yeah, they've got this blog here. Unveiling the veil. This was July 31st. This was today. Is it today? I know we all want character, photo ops, beautiful photos. Did they?
Oh yeah, last sentence here. We'll have more to share next month, including a new roadmap, new looks at the game, and our official release date. And next month is August in that case.
Hey, we're getting a roadmap, which is yay! Okay, thank you. I will post that in Discord, but it probably already is in Discord. Okay, at least we're getting it soon. New roadmap is what we want, though, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
So, like,
also release date.
Yeah, well, yeah. Release date for when we're going to get the released roadmap for when we're going to get the release date. Thank you, Fist of Fiore, for telling us that. I appreciate it. I'll read through this blog, parts that we don't know. I'll just breeze through it. So, the highlight of this week was the panel hosted by our cast and companions, sharing new insights on the characters. We joined Dark Horse for fan signings, giveaways, cosplay, photo shoots. In case you weren't lucky, don't worry, we're here not only to recap, but share photos. So are they actually going to be posting the panel live still? Or no, I don't know. We'll have a look. Everything kicked off Wednesday night with Dark Horse. Then on the fandom, the partner fandom party. Did anybody look at actual footage of the fandom party? The vibes were not there. Basically, it was an invitation-only fandom party, and the vibes just weren't there. If I was there, just saying, if I was invited, I would have jumped into the pool, I would have dressed up in bright colours, and I would have spoke to people. The actual, hey Lisa! The actual Instagram stories that fandom posted, where people stood there looking very bored at a party, not even talking to each other in the corner, and like, come on! I would have jumped in the pool. I would have got some reaction with my extroverted energy. If I was invited to a party that was a Dragon Age fandom party, I would have brought the energy. All I'm saying. I can promise you one thing, and that is extroverted energy. And on Friday, we had our panel, Meet the Heroic Companions of the Veilguard, which featured Zach Mendez, Jessica Clark, Nick Borain, and Ali Hillis. They highlighted every Dragon Age title, the companions, backstory from Epler and Ashley Barlow. Already talked about it in the video, but I'll still read it. Veilguard sees players embark on a perilous quest to face powerful elven gods and stop the apocalyptic destruction they're unleashing. You'll step into the role of Rook, battling on the front lines alongside a deep and compelling cast of companions who together comprise the Veilguard, a group of heroes who come together to stop the veil from breaking and bringing about the end of the world. Rook must become the unexpected leader who can rally and unite the group. Throughout the game, you can explore the detailed storylines of each companion, navigating loss, love, and complex choices that influence your relationships. Yes, Jason Derulo was also there as well. Jack would be dancing. Yes, Bill, I would be dancing with Jason Derulo. They didn't have the swag ready for the guests. I heard, oh really, Gaspar? Gaspar, drop the deets. What did they not have ready? Jack is a... I mean, if you're going to have a fandom party and not invite the fandom, come on. Come on. Also true, Magda. When's that happening? It's true. Companions have always been such a new big part of the franchise. You'll navigate some of the most compelling individual storylines you've seen from BioWare. I'm really excited about the bonds you're going to form. I feel like you can fall in love with any of them. Everyone that has touched this project has put a piece of their heart into it, and into all the different characters you could cross paths with. I know for me, at times in the companion stories, it seemed like I was watching a scene out of my own life. It's a powerful feeling to have something or someone to relate to on the screen. Meet the cast. So you got the cast. We already know the cast, so I won't read all of this. Finished wig, make a job. Lucanus, yeah. Okay, I guess I will read it. As soon as Zach was cast, he dove deep into Dragon Age and read everything he got his hands on. He did it all to create that depth of character you can really feel. Zach's a comedian. He would easily find the humour in anything Lucanus is saying, and sometimes I'd have to remind him that he's a deadly assassin and to stay bloodthirsty, but I think he found the cool way of finding the light in the darkness. Hell yeah. After I finished the wig maker job, I realised this might be the coolest guy I ever get to play. What struck me was his mind. His mind is as dangerous as his knives. He's constantly attuning himself to the kind of shifting terrain of every mission, and also he's kind of hilarious. I mean, if you look at his relationship with his cousin Ilario in the wig maker job, spelling mistake there, they're constantly giving each other crap, but there's a lot of love there. So I got to pull from my relationship with my brother because we love each other dearly, but we can be ruthless with each other. Mendez also revealed to fans that in addition to voicing Lucanus, he recorded other characters, which was Hassan, as well as other Darkspawn. Conversation with Jessica Clark and Shadow Dragon Rebel Nev, a cynic with a heart of gold who cares deeply about helping people and never leaves work half done. She also has ice powers to halt any enemy or take advantage of the environment. I describe her as the working class hero trying to make her hometown better. Ooh, I love that. I love her loyalty, I love her dedication, I love how much she loves Docktown and its people, and how she really sees a different vision that I'm into. And as John said, and then what's previously been depicted, and she's really, really fighting for those people, and she loves those people. Clark also commented on her experience of the costing and the recording process. Even though the cast members were all separate, disembodied voices a lot of the time, we really bonded well. I know in a lot of projects they're like, we love each other, but we really do. And it just evolved so organically. There was something magical about it just being our voices in the beginning. Next up was Nick, who is Emmerich, our sincere, friendly, scholarly necromancer who comes complete with a skeletal assistant. Manfred, voiced by Matthew Mercer, he's part of the Mournwatch, an elite group of necromancers who are revered in Navarra, but outside it, they are odd at best and evil at worst. Ooh. He's your well-meaning but obvious academic. Assumes everyone he has an academic curiosity, so can be pedantic on select topics. Love that. While Beren agreed he found aspects of the character even more remarkable. I love the fact that the writers took Emmerich. Is that another spelling mistake? Flippin' heck, should I write these blogs myself? Emmerich? Emmerich? Come on, who's writing these? I'm a content writer, so I am nitpicky. Like, where's the revision? Where's the revision process at BioWare? Come on. That's 2 spelling mistakes.
No, that's his cousin.
Oh.
That is the German cousin. We have Emmerich, who's our companion, and then we have Emmerich, who is the German cousin.
Emmerich, the German cousin, yeah. Eee. Tut tut tut. And explored the whole idea of death and the whole idea of necromancing by bringing kindness into it. Okay. I really responded to that and got into that. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. But it's to not have this idea that death is vulgar or something to be terrified about, but something to actually engage with on so many levels. I just love the fact that the writers had the courage to do that in a game like this. I'm excited for that. It's like Celos. Exactly, Bill. Lisa, please make a joke.
With the Salos, I imagine it's just Solus, but with one of those glasses with, you know, the big nose and the mustache.
Yeah. Yeah. And his favourite food is currywurst. Proofreading needs to be a thing. It's true, Emily. We have it at my workplace, and that's an 18-team an 18-teamed business. Like, come on. If we can do it, and we're a small team, BioWare, big BioWare can do it.
I mean, even we do it. We just read each other's text, but still.
Still, come on. There's a process. Where's the process? Sorry. By the way, Barlow chimed in to share insights from her time working with Beren. Nick encompasses Emmerich, his sophistication and eagerness to teach and learn. He's hot nerdiness. Ooh. Often Nick is just playing off of someone making a sound, which is Manfred, I assume. Oh, no, it's not. And he takes it and internalizes it and gives it meaning and care, which is amazing to watch. Finally came Ali Hillis and everyone's favourite dwarven scout, Lace Harding, who returns with a big heart, positive outlook and some unexpected magical powers. The world's changed a lot in the period since Inquisition, Epler observed. She returns as an excellent scout and archer and has been leading teams through the wilderness while covering friends in battle. I was going to say, did Wesley from GI Articles write this because he kept messing up names too? Oh, Lisa, Wesley's a one-man band though. Nah, that's good. That is good. I do feel sorry for Wesley though, because he's a one-man band.
Isn't he like a freelance journalist?
He's something like that, yeah.
But then it's still kind of on Game Informer because they should proofread text.
It's on Game Informer. It's on Game Informer. It's also like.
But then again, it's also kind of on him because Game Informer doesn't really. I imagine they're not really deep into the Dragon Age game, so.
Well, the process I would do is we'd have an internal. I'm sorry to bore everybody with processes. We'd have an internal spell checking review, and then we'd send it to the client, get the client's approval, and then we'd post it live. So then if there were to be a spell mistake, the client would read it through and be aware of it. So internal review with Game Informer, send to the client, let the client, in this case BioWare, review it before it goes out, because they would need to do that, surely, and then you send it out. So
unless it was intentional because he wants to be critical.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Put it out.
Yeah. Or BioWare don't do any spell checking themselves, so there was nobody to look at Wesley's work too. Anyway, I'll be pedantic. Just like Emmerich, I am being pedantic. My favourite things about Harding are little things like she loves her mom. Oh, you know, she loves to write letters home, and she's always talking about her mama's stupid stuff like that. Oh, she likes plants and raising plants, which is inspirational since I killed them, but just the texture they add to the characters. That's in general, but for me, oh, you're right, photo, oops, as opposed to photo ops. Spelling mistakes, Bio, it's 3. Right. This is why you need a content writer like me. This is why you need me to do the marketing, because I wouldn't have this film. I wouldn't have this. That's in general, but for me, it's those little things that really give me a bunch of stuff to work with in my brain. Barlow effused. Ali brought a weight and a history to this project as an anchor of the series. There was a growth to Harding. She's a veteran now. She's a trusted voice of the people, at the table, sorry. And the writers did such a great job of integrating her with a new team and finding the relationships of each to the characters. Photo oops. Our panel ended with a crowd Q&A, but STCC was just getting started. Ooh. Our team spent the rest of the weekend giving away posters and exclusive Discord pins. And my throat's dying. Signing those posters and of course meeting fans out on the show floor. Oh, here we go. Footage of the full panel should be available in the coming weeks. So for now, we hope you enjoy these photos of our favourite SDC moments. We'll have more to share next month, which is tomorrow. Well, which starts tomorrow. Including a new roadmap, yes. More look at the game, and an official release date. Good. Because, like, for me, summer is the end of August. So, you know. Yeah, no, roadmap's coming. I literally made a plea video yesterday. It was less about, like, the roadmap or the release date. It was more about, like, Bioware's marketing. But, yeah, it's good. I appreciate they're going to give us a roadmap. It's good. It's good. It's something that we need.
I mean, to be fair, like, summer is until September, like end of September.
That's what
so
people in my Discord said. What is the crack with that? I don't understand that.
Well, it is like I think it's the meteorological season.
That's it. What's the meteorological season versus the season of summer?
When is the...
Because you got summer and then you got meteorological summer, and I don't know the difference.
It's just science. Science, basically.
It's true, Waxy. Waxy, you know what? I didn't even think about that. They listened to me. It's true. Yeah, it's true. I should be humbled. The spell mistakes aren't humbling me, though. If I refresh this, is it going to fix them?
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. I'm just checking if the spell mistakes are still there. Yeah, they're still there. If anybody from Bioware's watching this, you got that spell mistake Emmerich here. You have photo oops. And then you had... Oh, yeah, wig make a job with an M. That one was obvious. This one here. And that one's obvious because you got it right here. So it's like... Yeah. So 22nd of September is actual meteorological summer. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, folks, we're getting the release date next month, which is starting tomorrow. Hopefully we get the roadmap soon. Bioware are listening. It most likely seems it. But thank you again, Lucas, for joining me for Down Among the Dead Men. You were fantastic. I've just seen so many people on Discord saying that you were amazing, and they really, really appreciated it. Lucas will be joining me again next week, and so will my good friend Emily, and we're going to be doing the Horror of Hallmark. It'll be great because we're going to have a feminine role, we'll have a masculine role with Lucas, and I'll be the narrator, so it will allow me to calm my voice down a little bit. But that's a brilliant story. It's Lucas's favourites. It's one of my favourites.
Yes.
It provides context on Gillinan, the Grey Wardens, and other little nuggets in there about tags and stuff, and connecting dwarven stuff to elven stuff. So it's going to be a great read. So please join us at the same time again next week for Horror of Hallmark. And of course, these are all archived if you'd like to watch them afterwards. But I do appreciate you all joining us today for JACKDAUDIBLE'S ROOK CLUB Live. And again, massive thank you to Lucas for joining us. Really, really appreciate you doing this. Your voices were fantastic and just perfect for Down Among the Dead Men. So again, I really appreciate it. But
thank you for having me.
Check out Lucas's channel. I'll put a link in the description down below. Lucas, have you got anything you want to promote before we bid farewell to everybody? Anything up and come in? Remind everybody of your channel name and just shout out anything in particular, really.
Channel name is basically my name. Up and coming, I'm working on 2 things actually. One of them is whether or not your choices actually matter for the upcoming game, but that's still work in progress. So
okay, I'm excited to watch.
Keep posted for that.
Yeah, Lucas Riordan, not Fusselcorn anymore. He's still Fusselcorn to me, but Lucas Riordan, which I know. Thank you. The caster has put his name in the chat, and just give a comment in the chat, Lucas, so people can see your account. And I'll post it in the script. Oh, brilliant. Cool. Thank you all again. We'll see you next week, but I appreciate it. I have another video coming out soon as well, but I will give you more details on that later on. It's exciting. But yeah, appreciate you all.